Good morning. Welcome back to a beautiful Monday morning. I'm ready to start the week. I'm sure you are too. I'm Jason. That's Deacon. We are your internet dads. This is going to be one weird week for me, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute.
I will probably have a very drastically different week than you, so I'm interested in seeing what.
Yeah. So, Mike, first, everybody have a sip of coffee, please, on me, please.
Do we need a sip of coffee for this? Okay.
I don't know how this is going to go. Really, I have an idea though. So for the last, I don't know. I've been at the same company for like 10 years, 12 years, something like that. I don't know. Back in 2017, we moved from a very, very old building with bad electricity to our own building. And at the time, we had like 10 employees. Well, for various reasons, we have less employees now. And we are more efficient, lean, mean, all of that. But we are now in a building that's too big for the number of people that we have.
That's a good problem, though. I mean, really?
Yeah, right. So
outgrow your.
Well, the opposite. I mean, to be more efficient and just not need as much space, and we're doing the same amount of business, and like nothing's. So, in order to reduce costs and cut fluff or whatever, we are leasing out our entire building to the community center next door. They need offices, they need floor space, they need places for people, and we don't really need to be there. So, now here's the trick part. They didn't tell us until last week, like, oh, for sure we're renting the building and we need you out Monday or Wednesday or something like that. So, yeah. So now it's my job to make sure stuff works at my company. And I was vaguely aware that like we're going to be moving, or we're going to be out for a month while they renovate, and then we use some of the offices, or are they going to use all the offices? Like, what do I need to plan for? We don't know. We don't know, Jason. We don't really know. Okay. All right. Well, we'll just fly by the seat of our pants. That'll be fine. So I find out like Thursday or Friday, like, oh no, they're going to take the whole building and we're going to be out indefinitely, probably forever. We're probably just going to be working from home. Oh, okay. So what do I do with like all of our stuff? What do I do with like the 24 servers that I have in here and the internet and phone system? What do I do with a phone system? So here's what I'm doing. This is what we're all doing. My sales and support guys, they're going to work from their house. My boss and his wife, they co-own the company, they're going to work from their house. And where am I going to put all the servers? Where do you think?
Your garage?
Yes, in my garage.
Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. I've got some questions.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Some concerning questions for you.
Yeah. Okay.
How many servers?
Oh, there's the ones that I only turn on in an emergency, like, oh, we have to build something and these things are rackety and old. They've been around for 30 years. Those are already down there. That's probably 6. And then I got a rack of servers coming Wednesday. So I'm packing up the rack and moving them Wednesday.
How much energy does each one draw from your electricity bill? And do you get, I would ask for compensation, because
that won't be a problem. I'll take care of it.
Right. But let me tell you, I had a guy, and this was years ago. I'm sure they have this that picks it up on computers now and whatnot. But I had a buddy. He was the husband of a lady that worked at the radio station, this cool sales lady that we got along. And we all just got along. And her husband worked for the power company. And his job was to monitor the power levels of all these places. And when there was a spike from a certain amount, of energy, he would notify the police office. And then I had a buddy one time tell me that he got visits from the cops, and they were wondering why he had a spike in his electricity so much. And he was explaining that he is now taking care of his 14-year-old niece that has a computer and a TV and a game and all this, and extra laundry. but they do that because that is a sign that you have opened a marijuana growing operation in your because you are needing all that extra power, and
Right.
that's why they see those spikes in
Okay.
electricity.
Yeah. All
So
right.
I'm
So
just concerned about you got servers in the basement. That is a
yeah.
spike in your electricity.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
yeah. If there's when whatever the surcharge of electrical costs is, I'll
yeah, I would
get
definitely
that.
work on I
I'll
would
get that.
definitely, yeah, but
So
don't be
so
surprised if
logist
you get a knock at your door or somebody going, "Hey, man, why are you using double the amount of electricity that you used last
right.
month or 50% more? Mhm. Can we come inside and
Okay.
talk?"
Yeah. So what I am having done is I'm having a 2 gig business fiber line dropped into my garage tomorrow. And then and I I have a quote out for my handyman guy or whatever to put like a 50 amp uh uh dedicated line from my breaker to the garage just for the
Yeah,
server
yeah,
racks. So
yeah, yeah. That's another
so
one. That's I wouldn't have thought about that, but that's like
yeah.
necessary. You gotta
Yeah.
make
Like
sure that you
I
got
don't
some
want it on my
extra
house.
power going into the damn
Yeah.
thing.
Now I might need to I haven't thought about it. Maybe I do need to have just a separate electric line run to my house, but then that's like a whole different meter and everything
Yeah, that would be a
for
whole
me
different
to send the
meter,
bill to. Yeah.
but honestly, that would be a whole different meter, and that would be a whole different bill, and you could be like, "Send that over
Yeah.
here."
Yeah.
Send
That bill goes to Esther, not me.
that
Yeah.
to go somewhere else.
Yeah. So one of the things I did last week in order to like facilitate this was I bought that foam stuff. I insulated my garage door so it leaks heat less. And I'm gonna have a dryer vent hole cut in my garage, and I'm gonna put a portable AC like right into there, so it's gonna AC the garage when its doors closed. And I'm gonna put server racks in my office in my house. So at my house, there's gonna be a data center in my garage, 2 gig link, and I might go down there to do the show instead of up
I
here
started
because
to say, does this mean that we're not going to buffer and install
less.
anymore when you try to
It'll
open New
be
York
maybe
Post?
better. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
We just stopped years
So
ago posting
and
any kind of New York Post links.
so my morning commute is going to reduce from an average of an hour each way to going downstairs.
30 seconds.
so
That's a bonus.
so,
That's
yeah, that's good.
there's something like if y'all keep you obviously do because y'all finished Dave Ramsey. You ought to see how much your gas, just your fuel costs goes down. Not hers, but just
Oh
yours.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Man,
So
that's
I
gonna be
actually
a lot
know
of
we
savings.
budget on average $300 a month for gas for both of us.
Yeah,
$300 a month.
yeah,
It's
that's
gonna
about
go to like less, a lot less.
it
I'm not gonna,
costs.
dude, I'm a homebody. I don't go anywhere unless
I don't
I'm
even
gonna go here, comic book store, and then right around town sometimes with my kids to go take them thrift shops or whatever on the
yeah.
weekends. Just
I
like
just
I
go
don't,
around town.
yeah,
I don't
I don't even roam around town. I'm like, oh, I want to go to this one place and then I'm gonna go home.
and then I go home.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I go to
Lowe's, boom.
Walmart, I'm going to Walmart, I'm going to the section, I'm
Yeah,
getting the thing that I need, I'm going to the checkout, and I'm leaving. I'm not
yeah,
looking around.
yeah. I'm not really shopping around. And now this has made me clean my garage. Like before, my garage was like all the stuff we've ever had. It's in here and it's in some kind of an order. Well, now I don't have room for that. So like I'm redoing garage storage. I put pegboards up for all my tools. I sorted all my tools and hung them up so that they're not just like a scattered mess on my worktop. So, oh boy. So this is a tough week. So
This
today
is
I'm here. Tomorrow, today I'm transferring all of our phone system from a Toshiba, I don't know, box from like 1982 into Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is going to be our phone system.
good luck with that.
Yeah, it's going to work great. And then tomorrow I'm getting that data drop, and then Wednesday we're moving servers, and then Thursday Thursday morning when I talk to you, I'll probably be like, "Oh my god, nothing's hooked up, nothing's working." I'm so much. But by Friday, I'm probably gonna be all right.
Sweet.
That's my week.
By Friday, I might be dropped off the deep end. Ashley and one of her coworker friends had this girls' vacation scheduled last
Oh,
year that didn't get
yeah.
did.
Oh no.
So they're leaving on a plane this morning to go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for a week.
Oh, she
So
left you
yeah,
to
so
go.
I really need people to text Alex about tomorrow to make sure that he's still alive and has eaten.
Really?
We will be fine.
All
I have
right.
5 kids and they're all not dead. So
I mean, look,
I'm doing good so
when
far.
when it comes down to it, them being alive, you've won.
I've done good so far.
Yeah. All right. Deke, I have a story that is of only middling interest, I'm sure, but I thought maybe we should check it out.
There was some interesting political crap that's been going on.
Yeah. We'll see. Oh, God, thanks the hell. We'll see what you think about this. And I don't really know what we'll talk about. I know that Rob Liefeld has been like lighting up Marvel over the last week, so I don't know if you know about that. I'll tell you about that in a second. But this is apparently the White House Correspondents' Dinner was like this weekend or yesterday or something like that. And upon reflection of them doing their job, an Axios reporter has said the media should have done a better job of its coverage of Biden's decline. We are now like 4 years later when you could notice that like this dude's gone. He's not there. We've been literally saying like this guy's brain dead for years. And just now, 4 months into the Trump 2.0 presidency, Alex Thompson criticized the coverage of President Joe Biden's decline. Ooh, what do we got? What's going on there? We got some fuzzy noise. What's
Sorry, it popped up. I was looking for something for you to add to this, and it popped up.
Oh, okay.
On me. I'm sorry.
Let's see. Let me go down to the quote here. Alex Thompson of Axios discussed the distrust in the media while accepting the Beckman Award for overall excellence, invoking former President Biden's decline in his acceptance speech. Quote, "We bear some responsibility for faith in the media being at such lows," he said. "The media should have done better in reporting of President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him." He added that reporters, himself included, missed a lot of the story, and some people trust us less because of it. How?
Most people trust you less.
How could you guys have missed it? Two nobody yucks on the internet, just like goofing around. Every single week, we're talking about like, oh, Joe Biden's brain dead. He's not there. He's not doing this. And you guys were in the room with this guy. Or to be frank, you guys were never in the room with him because he wouldn't take any media interviews because he was brain dead, and his administration around him was just lying left and right. So,
here, throw this up.
Here, let me make you moderator.
The same. This is from Talk Easy with Sam Fragoso, and this kid looks young. Okay, but he's interviewing Pocahontas.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. He was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw it.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
Right.
That was a shortened clip of that, but I saw a longer one and I was like, I don't know who this kid is, but I like him.
Yeah, that was good. Did you see how? Okay, so when people lie, when people are deceptive and they lie, It takes a little extra time to say something. It takes a little extra time to answer a question.
Most people, yes, you're exactly
Did
right.
you see the way he asked her a question? She was like,
And let me
I
tell you,
was honest about what I saw.
another trick that a lot of politicians, a lot of people use when they do that, when you ask a question and I don't know the immediate answer, I will either repeat the question back to you in the form
Right.
of a statement or something. I will do something to give my brain 10 to 15 seconds to think up
Yeah.
the start of something. And I will either,
Right.
well, what do you mean? I will make you state it again. I will do something to make you,
Oh, yeah.
to give myself some time. You're exactly right. But I think that it's great that he was like, Senator,
Called her out
being
right there.
able to talk in a complete sentence is not, and he's,
Yeah. That is good. That is like, lady, I don't know how dumb you think everybody is, but
but I'm a 20-year-old kid sitting here
that's
schooling you.
that's not good enough. Yeah. All right. That's
This
pretty
is the
good.
same woman that claimed to be Cherokee and has less Cherokee blood in her than I do.
Well, listen, that was the story told at her family. So she believed the story told in her family.
Okay. I believe the story that was told in my family too.
Well, hey, look,
On
you
both
said
sides of my
you're
family.
Indian. My family has told me that I'm like 1/16 of a 32nd or something. I don't know. I was like, I don't
Something
know.
like
I
that.
don't know, man.
I actually have done genealogy. So you have 4 grandparents, you have 8 great grandparents, you have 16, 32, 60. You see how many people you have in your family when you start going up?
For
Well,
sure.
I had a set of great, great, great grandparents on my father's side that were both full blooded Cherokee. And I had a great great grandmother on my mother's side that was full blooded Cherokee. And
Hey, Brian's here.
I have people that have told me this, but if you do genealogy, how do you know if they're native? Well, the natives were given white names, first of all. Most of them were given white names. So if you have somebody in your
You got a
family,
clue?
no, yeah, if you have somebody in your family, it's not going to be Barking Eagle or something like that. It's going to be John White. Okay. So, John, when you start doing, here's the key, when you start doing, trying to trace John White back and you come up with 0, nothing, nowhere, nothing. And it's around that, there's more than likely a chance that John White was a Native American, because Native Americans they had an oral history. They didn't write shit down. So if you get back to somebody,
Well, some people say that is the better way to record history that you make up, and none of it's real.
well, that's been oral history, has been an oral passing down of history, has been part of
Sure.
human nature since humans have been able to
Dude, I
do
mean,
it.
I get that, but I also know that you could tell me a story today that you have told me 2 months ago, and it won't be the same story.
Genesis, Exodus. Are you going to say that about those? Because that was passed down through oral history.
You know what?
Okay?
It wasn't.
That was all oral history. The only reason
me
we
just
say
say-
that Adam and Eve had Seth and Cain and Abel and all is
I know.
because of oral history.
So you're not wrong. It makes it like, well, how do we know any of this is what it was? There's also this
Right.
about the culture. Hold on. There's also this about that culture. They would meet every week, at all of them, the Hebrews, Jews, whatever, and somebody would repeat the oral history, and everybody else was there. And if you got it wrong, no. So like it was not just repeating of oral history. It was there was a massive feedback mechanism of everybody else being like, you're not saying it correctly. You have to say it exactly right.
Control.
Well, you can make the. I'm not. That's not my job to defend that. All I'm telling you is that for the most part, human recollection is like the worst way to record facts.
Oh, I don't disagree with you at all. I always found it fascinating, that little study that they did. And you can watch 2 or 3 of these, but I remember watching one where it was like, eyewitnesses for like trials really that, you know?
Oh my God. That's
and
the worst.
Yeah, I would have been like, well, of course they were an eyewitness. And then they had like 10 freaking people that they had seen this thing, and they were like, well, what color jacket was the guy wearing, or what color? And every one of them, or like a majority
What
of them,
is-
got it wrong.
What is that 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 guy's name? That's the, he's the popular astronomer guy.
The stupid
name.
guy, Neil
I know
deGrasse
what you're
Tyson.
gonna say. Yeah, Neil.
Okay, let me tell you real quick before you get into this. You have to remember, because you believe this stuff, okay? You have to remember that we need very charismatic, very smooth talking, very entertaining scientists to come out here and say, no, that's wrong. This is right. Well, that's dumb. This is. If we are really trying to push propaganda, wouldn't you think we would need some charismatic, entertaining, well-spoken scientists to say what we want them to say and not the real science? You got to keep that into your mind, because Dolph Lundgren is more of a scientist than Bill Nye, the freaking science guy.
Well, that's true, but this isn't about science. This is about what
I'm just telling you.
A credentialed, degreed astronomer says
That
about
doesn't
jury
mean
duty.
squat to me, because of the way that these credentials are acquired, and the way that they acquire their degrees, and the way that they pay for their houses and their cars is because some rich asshole is giving them a grant and giving them money to study this. And
Yeah,
when
but
they come back and they say, wait a minute, X equals Y here. And they're
Well,
like, we don't want
listen,
X to equal
you
Y.
may be
We want X to equal
super
Z.
critical of Neil deGrasse Tyson and anybody that has a degree. However, other people consider him a credible source of some kinds of information, and this is what he has to say about
Entertainment.
jury duty.
I love
Sure.
Star Trek too. I've been watching SG-1, and he's great at that.
Time I was rejected from jury duty. They said there was a woman who was robbed on the street of her groceries and her purse. It's a literal he said, she said. Okay. The judge reads the particulars and goes, does anyone think they would not be able to convict based on the kind of information and evidence that's been presented? And they said, juror 14, whatever you're numbered, right, until you're selected. Would you have any problem? I said, yes, I'd have a problem if the only evidence available is eyewitness testimony. What the judge said next was, are there any other jurors, like juror 14, who needs more than one witness before they would be able to convict? The person in front of me said, Your Honor, that's not what he said. And I said, oh, thank you. And I resisted with all my might to say, Your Honor, you were eyewitness to what I said 20 seconds ago and got it wrong.
Yes. That is exactly. I mean, come on. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson. That is a very true point. Like, people are unreliable.
He says a lot of true stuff, but there is a lot of stuff that he feeds on. You got to take him with a grain of salt, is all I'm saying. I don't. When I think of, I don't think of him as a credible top astronomer when I'm looking for.
Okay.
You know,
right.
Neil deGrasse. We talked to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I've got questions.
Like, okay, well, you talk to the Rock is basically all you talk to. You know.
Now my question follow up is
which you want me to name fucking astronomers here?
Giuseppe
Alduedo is one, and then you've got. I'll name them for you.
I don't know who these people are.
Okay, you don't like astronomy though, do you?
What about that skinny guy that? Let me see if I can find that guy.
Take down
maybe that's who you're talking about. Can't
believe
you don't like him.
He's exactly right.
I don't. He's not right about everything, but he's right about. I think he's right about that.
Well, that's right.
That's a good illustrative story.
Once again, if somebody doesn't read physics papers and read and be interested in this stuff and interesting in all of the stuff that we're doing in astronomy, and you don't read it every day or weekly like I do, you probably would think that Neil deGrasse Tyson was a very educated man. But I'm not the only person that thinks this. I'm not near the only person that thinks this.
I don't think that you're the only person that thinks this. He is a charismatic personality. and that's more at least half of his job as the
Absolutely, it is. I mean,
astronomer
he's a
dude at
millionaire
Harvard or
because
whatever
of
he's
it.
at.
How many millionaire
Yeah.
astronomers are there out there?
Right.
Name them.
He's like when we were kids, actually before we were kids, it was Sagan. Sagan was
Carl
the,
Sagan.
popular astronomer, the person who was bringing science, space, technology, the future to the average American. And that guy's dead. And then we had what?
And a lot of what
Nobody
he
for,
said is
like, a
a
million
lot of
years.
what he said back 50 years ago is like coming true today.
Oh,
Old
yeah.
Carl Sagan.
Like what?
Some of
I mean,
his
I
some
don't
of
know
his
what you mean.
thoughts and stuff. I was going to say this about when you were talking about that.
Billions of years ago.
What billions and billions? Yeah, he had a great
Billions
voice.
and billions.
Like what old Neil deGrasse said right there about the judge.
Yeah.
We always picked on my son Alex about that. It's the telephone,
Yeah.
the telephone game. When you
Oh,
guys-
yes.
So I always said when Alex was little, he's gotten a lot better. But when he was little, I always said Alex is his own game of telephone. If when Alex was 13 years old and we said, your sister's going to babysit you tonight, y'all are home here by yourself. Me and your mom are going to Paducah. We're going to eat at the Outback Steakhouse. We're going to the mall, and then we're coming home. And if somebody calls, like, where's your parents? Alex would have been like, Mom and Dad abandoned us and went to Australia.
I have one of those.
Yeah,
I got one of those.
I'm not even exaggerating. Mom and Dad left us here alone, and they went to Australia. And I'm, where are you getting
boy,
this
you
from?
got your stories on you, kiddo.
Please don't.
Yeah,
tell
so
people like
I don't
this
know.
is
I don't know
cool.
how anybody in life can go through grade school, play telephone like you're talking about, and then sit on a jury panel and convict anybody based on eyewitness testimony.
Have you been on a jury?
I have been unselected from a jury.
Really?
Yeah. I was. You can go.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
long? Why were you unselected? Because you're so.
No,
What
just
did you
I mean,
say?
it was the pool. It was a grand jury pool, and I was like,
Then
I
you
filled out
were
the questions.
profiled. Look at
That's what I
this
mean.
freaking bearded white guy right here. He is definitely a MAGA supporter. That
They're-
means that
well,
he is
they had a-
radical.
They had a questionnaire, and they were like, can you whatever? This is a questionnaire, and they said, if you have any issues or whatever? I was like, I have no issues, whatever, except if there's cases involving politicians. I truly believe that they are all sociopaths, and there's other than that. I truly believe all politicians are sociopaths, and they will say whatever they have to. So if there's a case involving a politician, it probably won't be a fair trial for me. And then they were like, bye.
Was it us that talked about this not too long ago? Me and somebody was talking about jury duty not too long ago.
Wait, before you go, I am telling you this story. I am telling you right now, the details of the story I just told you are not accurate. I don't remember the details.
We know that already. That needs to be a disclaimer at the front of the show. The details that these two dads talk about are not accurate.
Yeah. All I know is I went to the courthouse. I did some paperwork. I answered some questions, and they were like,
"See ya.
Maybe next time."
That's one thing that I've never got to be a part of that I've always wanted to be a part of is jury duty. And it's not because I haven't been called for jury duty. I have 3 times. Yeah. But I have worked, next month will be 30 years in radio. And every time I tell them I work in local media, and part of my job is to stay updated with all the local news and local media so that I can, so whatever this trial is about, I probably read about it in the news. On the air. So
spoke about it.
I've been dismissed all 3 times because I've worked.
I put that on my paperwork too, that like we do this and I review the news every morning or whatever. I don't know if that, I don't know what the reason was. They don't tell you the reason. They're just like, okay, you're dismissed.
They don't have to. They don't have to. What was that great? There was a great movie that really had Gene Hackman in it.
Superman?
No. No, it really displayed at the time, because I'm sure it's gotten a lot more detailed now, of how lawyers could really dig into jury selections. He was selecting those people in the jury. Do you remember what movie I was talking about?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Hang on, let me look up.
Well, you looked that up. Ryan says he was called during his first year of teaching. I had to report to the courthouse every time, but never got selected from the pool. Very inconvenient.
Yeah,
Inconvenient that you had to go to the courthouse and sit there all day
and take a day off.
Do you know? And I didn't know this until I went down to the courthouse. There's two different kinds of juries. The jury that we all think about, 12 Angry Men, that jury, that is when you're sitting on a case. But there's another kind of jury, at least in Texas, it's called a grand jury.
Yeah.
And what a grand jury does is the DA or whoever brings the Do Good says the movie's probably called The Jury.
No, Do Good's you are damn close. It's called The Runaway Jury. It's got Gene Hackman in it, and it was actually really good because it showed how the lawyers delved into, well, this juror, his wife has got a drinking, problem, and she's a school teacher. So they go and they get freaking info on that wife, and then they hold it against so that it was really interesting. They found out details about every juror's life and were trying to manipulate them. And even in the jury selection, they were like profiling them and had It's a 97. No, when did it come out? Runaway Jury came out it's a 96 novel, come out in 2003. So it was 2003 technology, So yeah, 22 years ago.
So the other kind of jury is a grand jury. And that's when like the DA presents evidence to the jury to decide if charges should be filed against the person or not.
Yeah.
So the thing about a grand jury, though, that's different is that a grand jury doesn't sit on one case. Grand jury, at least in Texas, at least where I am.
No, that's how it is.
For like 90 days or 180 days. And they get called in like every week and a bunch of cases. Like, here's a case, here's the facts that should we file charges. And so a grand jury basically has investigative powers, and grand jury gets to ask questions to they get presented some stuff and then they get to ask them questions like, well, like what does this mean? What is that? Is it okay? Well, then file charges or not. So the jury pool that I was a candidate for was the grand jury type, and they didn't. I don't want you. No thanks, bud.
It's probably a blessing, to be honest.
So
if I was in a jury room with 11 other people, and I don't like people to start with, and then you put me in there with 11 opinions that we're supposed to get their opinions, and I don't play well with others sometimes.
So you were just talking about Gene Hackman and this jury movie, and on the one hand, I'm like, I'm thinking of like, what are other jury movies that are really good? In fact, I just saw one recently. I saw one with the guy that played the Beast. Do you know that guy? The guy that played the Beast in the X-Men movies? I'll circle back to that.
Kelsey Grammer?
But no.
The other guy. The young guy?
Yeah. The guy that played Renfield in the, Nicolas Cage Renfield movie. Nicholas Hoult.
Did you watch that? The Renfield movie? I guess you did.
I must have. I'm sure I did, but it was probably
the one where he was like, he's Renfield and he's going to this support group.
In the weeds.
Do what?
Yeah, I've seen it. No, we're in the weeds.
I know.
It was good.
That's what we did. That's a fantastic freaking movie.
So now we're just talking about movies because okay. So one jury movies. There's this jury movie that Nicholas Hoult was in that was fantastic. I saw it on a flight from I don't know wherever else from San Diego, back from San Diego, I think it was. And let me look that up.
Juror number 2.
Yes, that's it. That's a great movie. It's a I guess like a court drama or a thriller. Not a thriller.
Clint Eastwood movie.
It's kind of a
Simmons
thriller.
Is in it. Kiefer Sutherland's in it.
It's fantastic, dude. It's good, but but you were mentioning Gene Hackman, and you were talking about early 2000s movies, and you reminded me that he was in a movie with Will Smith. That's I think he was in the movie.
Enemy of the
What
State.
was it? Enemy of the State.
Yeah,
That was great.
it was a good one.
Oh my God, Crimson Tide, Get Shorty.
Yeah, no, I was looking at all these. I mean, Mississippi Burning, Hoosiers.
Mexican.
The Replacements was a good. Young Frankenstein. Well, he was in Young Frankenstein.
There's no way he was in Young Frankenstein. Superman 4, Quest for Peace.
He was the blind man in Young Frankenstein.
No way.
I don't remember that for some reason. I've seen that movie a million times.
Rest in peace, Gene Hackman.
That's still a weird story, man. I heard something about it not too long ago that they were saying that I don't even remember what they were saying. I was just hearing it on the news, and it was like not too long ago that they had come back with this, and the police were saying that, and it was still kind of a head scratcher. It's like they're saying that she was dead like a week before he was, or something. He was.
Well, that makes sense.
But the dog was dead too, and I mean, they checked food and they checked everything.
He was infirm. He was like, dude was 93 and he was gone. He's been gone a long time.
Yeah.
And when his caretaker died, who was 20 years younger than him, his wife, when she died, then like nobody could open the door. Nobody checked on him. His kids didn't check on him.
It's still, and I don't remember what they said, but it was still kind of weird to me. Look, here's a freaking movie with Gene Hackman in it. And I forgot that he was in this movie, but he is. And this is one of my favorite movies of all time. If you have never seen The Mexican with Brad Pitt and freaking Julia Roberts, have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. That's a great movie.
That's a fantastic freaking movie. I haven't seen that in years, but that one is a number one. Challenge
me on this. I think Brad Pitt might be one of the best actors to ever live. He's certainly made the best. Name one actor that has a catalog of movies that are better than Brad Pitt's catalog of movies.
Daniel Day-Lewis. Gary Oldman.
No.
Gary Oldman, in my opinion, could act circles around Brad Pitt. And I'm not trying to say that Brad Pitt is not a good actor, but he's not a diverse actor.
It's not just about the ability to act, though. It is about the choosing roles, choosing stories, accepting deals, and the outcome product is like for Brad Pitt. Time after time after time after time, it's an entertaining movie. Always, like
JJ, brother. Do you know how easy it is to manipulate the masses? That is why we have had 20 years of shit movies come out. That is why we have had 30 to 40 years of the same freaking type of music coming out. I still have this today. I can write a hit song tomorrow because I know the form. I've been a DJ for 30 years in pop radio and country radio and rock radio. I know the stupid ass formula and the stupid lyrics you need to do this. I just watched a video over the weekend of this wife of a country music singer, and she was talking about how her husband has been singing around town and performing for 2 or 3 years and making a lot of money doing it. But Nashville has gotten interested in him because he had a song go viral. And this song, she said, when the record people wanted him to take out one of the lines, it was a political line at the end of the song, and they wanted him to write something about being lazy on a Sunday and drinking with your buddies. And he refused it. And he refused the record deal. That is what they do. Me and John Connolly joked about that one day, and he interviewing him, and he said, John Connolly, big country music star, and he said, how many songs, we talk about nowadays music and country music, and he said, how many songs can you write about your truck? Every country music song is the same thing, hanging out, or it's one of 2 or 3 different things. So, I mean, these movies are the same way. Brad Pitt's a good actor, but when you say that he picked all these roles and stuff, no, man, the only reason those movies were popular is because of him. Because he was the best looking
Yes,
guy
that's
on
what
the
I said.
planet, and
That's
he's
right.
that doesn't make him him
Except
the best actor ever.
answer
That just means
answer
that
this question then.
you put
If it's because
lipstick
he's
on a
just a
pig, it's
good
still
looking guy and
pig.
the women like him, women don't go to movies.
Women
Bro.
spend money on all kinds of dude.
No,
I could write. I
no, they
told
don't.
Ashley the other day I was going to start writing Hallmark novels, and she was like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "I'm going to take these Hallmark movies that all you freaking women watch. Oh, so many women watch them movies, or they wouldn't still be making them in abundance like they are." I said, "I'm going to start writing these books and sell them to
Hallmark
women."
movies are cheap. Hallmark movies are cheap. They're inexpensive. They
You
don't
wouldn't
generate
make
revenue. They
cheap
don't
shit.
have to.
You wouldn't make cheap shit if it didn't generate as much as it does. All I'm trying to get at is I believe that it's very easy to manipulate a mass of the population. Not you. You are easy manipulated on some things, I believe.
Sure I am.
And I'm
I am.
easily manipulated on certain things, but as a whole, it's very easy. You know? I think Gary Oldman's a better actor, and I think Daniel Day-Lewis is one of the best character
Well,
actors to ever hit the stage.
Well, both of those guys then are responsible for us not having any good movies for 20 years. They should have done more work. Daniel Day-Lewis should have stopped making shoes and should have got back out there and got behind the camera lens and should have done some work.
Hang on
Do you
here.
not know Daniel
up?
Day-Lewis's day job is he's a cobbler? Do you not know that?
That's all. That makes me love him even more.
Yeah,
I'm
he
not gay,
like
but I think I would be in a relationship with Daniel Day-Lewis, man.
yeah.
Senate says, "Did y'all see Welfare?"
Warfare. What's Warfare?
Oh, it is Warfare. I'm sorry, my glasses. I'm sorry.
Is that a Gene Hackman movie? Let me see. Warfare. Oh, 20. That can't be this.
Dude, it's got that Will Poulter guy in it.
Who's Will Poulter? Oh, that guy. Oh, that guy's the Joker. He's crazy. That dude's a psycho.
The Joker in
This looks like a good movie. That's it. This looks good. I actually think I've seen a trailer for this.
Okay. Okay, hang on just a second.
Too Good says he disagrees.
CCK?
In this vast sea of stupid movies that you just described, Brad Pitt managed to pick out some of the really good ones and great stories. Thank you, Too Good. Too Good agreed with me. Yes, I'm telling you. Yeah, look.
Can you hang on just a second? This phone's ringing off the hook for some reason today. Hang on a second. Jason, go ahead real quick. This phone's ringing off the hook.
Sorry, buddy. So like even if Brad Pitt were not a genius and not a great actor, he somehow has managed to trip, stumble, and fall into some of the most compelling and awesome roles in cinema history. Now, a lot of that, maybe a strong portion of that is because he make movies with Tarantino. Like Tarantino wants Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt's like, okay. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, come on, amazing movie. But he also made Bullet Train. Bullet Train is it's my favorite movie of that year, which was I think 2022, 2020, something like that. And then there's the classics too.
I'm sorry. I thought something. I was freaking out there for a second and thought something was going on. We were going on the air. I had 3 lines ringing. One of them hung up.
What's up, Jordan?
Oh, it's Jordan.
I knew. I recognized the Senate 15, but I didn't.
Okay, hang on, let's see. Too Good says disagree in this.
Hey, Jordan, tell your brother congratulations for me, please. Congratulations. His brother just got married.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I agree with Do Good. I mean, when that last sentence there, Brad Pitt managed to pick out some really good roles and great stories. And, and that's, I'll give it to him that maybe his acting in the Dances with Wolves? What was it? Legends of the Fall. Legends of the Fall was a really good movie, but the question that you need to ask yourself is, put an equally good looking guy in that role, and would it have taken away from the movie? That's the question. You got to take the movies that you're saying you're putting
No,
these
there's.
particular
I mean, I
actors
hear you,
in,
but there's
and then taking them out and
something
putting somebody
else.
else in, seeing if it's the same.
There's like okay. There's like a twinkle in his eye or something like that.
Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you what I think it is.
He was in Inglorious Bastards. Derek, you could pull up any scene in Inglorious Bastards and you're suddenly hooked. Like Brad Pitt's amazing.
Dude, okay, I will give you that. Although Raines, that character and Brad Pitt's portrayal is right up there at the top. Like I would put that character and his portrayal of that character. I will agree with that. Right up there with some of my best Daniel Day-Lewis and Gary Oldman character roles, because I think those are some of the best character actors. And what's his name? Alan Rickman was a great character actor, man. And so Aldo Raines in Inglourious Bastards was fantastic.
So
his accent and everything was fantastic.
Let me say that. Yeah. Nah, I'm not gonna get fired. I'm not gonna get charged. I'll get chewed out. I've been chewed out.
Gorlame. Gorlame. God,
now I will be critical. There was a period in time in the late 90s, early 2000s when Hollywood were making these super long ass movies, and I was not a fan. Legends of the Fall. I'm not spending 3 hours watching this. And his other one, the one where he played Death, Joe Death, I think.
Black. Joe Black.
Whatever. Joe Black. Meet Joe Black. No, I'm not watching this movie. And that movie is 3 hours long and it has 3 seconds of fun. That's it. And that fun is when a homeboy gets hit by a car and bounces and bounces and bounces.
I could say the same thing. I actually
30
did
years
this
later.
weekend. My buddy went and watched Revenge of the Sith again. They were talking him in our little conversation, our little chat. They were talking about how great Empire Strikes Back is. And I know I'm going to get hate mail for this, but I was like, Empire was a great movie for 20 minutes because you can take all that shit in the middle and throw it away because that's the most boring crap. Luke going through that crap in Dagobah, yawn. The only things about Empire, in my opinion, are great is Hoth and the ending. And all that crap and I know that I'm going to get hate for that, but that's just...
Well, I don't agree with you because Empire is my favorite Star Wars
everybody's
movie.
Favorite. That's what they were hating on me this weekend because they're saying, I'm like, dude, don't hate on me. So I got a different opinion.
Let's talk about Christoph Waltz for just a second because you're right. Christoph Waltz is an amazing actor. And he's made some interesting choices. Christoph Waltz.
That was in, who is that?
You would know him from Django Unchained. You would know him as the German in.
You think I've watched Django Unchained? That's funny.
Inglorious Bastards.
That's what I thought. He is the. In my opinion, he portrayed one of the best villains of all time in his portrayal of. Whatever his name was in Inglourious Bastards. That opening.
I thought you meant
that opening scene in Inglourious Bastards should be preserved forever. That is the most. Oh my God! And you put any other actor in there to do that, and you would not get his character. That's whoever said that. Christoph Waltz, do good, dude. That was fantastic.
He is great, but he's made some choices that were like, oh, cool, and he's made some other choices that are like, what?
I saw a video from over the weekend. I'm going to bring up for you.
So not only was he in Inglourious Bastards, that was like, when was that? Inglourious Bastards was no way, it was 2009. It was in 2009. He followed that up with The Green Hornet. And then Django Unchained in 2012. But then he was in this movie called Zero Theorem, which was directed by Terry Gilliam. And normally I would be like, Terry Gilliam movies are amazing always. This one was not. It's not. Yeah. And, And then he was in Battle Angel Alita. He played Dr. Ito in Battle Angel Alita. And I know that James Cameron like really wanted to make this movie for like 30 years, and he made it. And it is just so. Have you seen Battle Angel Alita?
Mm-mm.
Did you ever read the comic book Battle
No,
Angel Alita?
no.
I had it when I was a kid. It's in just a couple of words. How would you describe manga comic books, like the whole thing?
How would I describe manga?
Yeah, sure. Manga comic books, like the Japanese comic books that you remember from when you were younger.
I don't understand what you're asking me here.
Like the tropes of manga, how it's different from American comics. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I didn't really I can't comment on like the storytelling because I
Sure.
haven't read any, but I've watched some cartoons and whatnot. The storytelling's always, the Japanese storytelling is always deep, but not deep. It's like they have a humongously deep story, and then somebody told them to condense that down into 2 sentences. It's like, here's condense this book down to 2 sentences is what it feels like. It's a huge deep story.
I would agree with that. And
fantastic. The artwork is the same way. I've always found Japanese and manga and all that kind of artwork is simple yet complicated.
I like your idea of superficial, like deepness, like, you know what I mean? Because that's true. Because I remember like certain cartoons or whatever that I'd seen, they were like, the characters were like acting like they were on some deep philosophical, thoughtful journey, and it was like, this is dumb. This is not what you think about when somebody's aiming a gun at you.
So my boys were watching this show years ago called, I think it's called Demon Hunter. I think that's what it's called. And I tried to watch one of the episodes because I was trying to be, they talked about it, and I kind of like that stuff. So I watched it, and I really didn't get into it. And then I talked with Deacon about it some more, and Deacon was like, "Oh no, you need to get through this and get through this." And there's certain aspects of the show that I don't like, that I think they chose a wrong acting portrayal for, but the story's so deep. That's what I got into, and I'm like, wow. I told Deacon, I'm like, this is a pretty deep story. Like, this would be a great movie trilogy or something. How the storyline behind it was great,
right?
But it felt like that. You could make a whole mini series about this, but you've got 3 hours to make a movie. So tell the whole story in 3 hours. It's like, I don't want to cut that. I don't want to cut that. Here, I saw this video.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to show you.
I was just going to yap about it. Doesn't matter. What's this? Oh, Christoph.
1977. 1977. Ja, 1977. Ich bin das neue Jahr und ich bleibe jetzt bei dir. Ich bin das neue Jahr, bin jünger als das alte war. Wie viel? Das ist jetzt die Frage.
Man, I don't have a clue what he's saying, but you can see right there, and I guess it's 1977, 48 years ago, that he had the damn charisma right there. Look how, he's even in his voice, in the way he's got it right there. He's a young dude.
Tage. Ist Silvester hell und klar, ist am nächsten Tag Neujahr. So.
I saw that over the weekend, and I was like,
so we need to have a chat with Wardrobe on this TV show, because boy looks like a clown. I don't know why you thought that would be a good outfit.
Oh, hang on.
He sings about the new year. He's singing about the new year.
Since we're always saying, think you do good. We need to do good. We need to do good insurance.
Yeah, will not be met with punishment. Actually, quite the contrary. It will be met with reward. And that reward will be your family will cease to be harassed in any way by the German military during the rest of our occupation of your country.
Why is this in Vietnamese?
Is it? I don't know. It's a TikTok.
I don't know what that is.
That scene right there.
Yeah.
Man, that will always go down to me as one of the best.
Stress. See, that is what an amazing filmmaker can do. They can, with very little language, but visual storytelling, they can create like this impending sense of dread and doom. That's amazing. That's
That
awesome.
man, when he's yelling at the end and she's running away and he's like, Shoshana.
I have to be honest, I don't remember the back half of the movie. I remember most of it right up to the point where, like, they beat the guy in the woods, or they
It was
they
two
catch the other
stories.
Germans and
It was two different
Yeah.
stories that melded into one. It was the Shoshana story. It was the story about the girl that ran away and him. And so you had that, and she owned the theater. She was disguised herself, and she owned the theater. And then you had Aldo and the group come in and want to kill Hitler, and that just happened to be. And it was beautiful. The ending when she killed and she dies. That was a beautiful story to me, because it's not like they get married and they have kids and they live happily ever after the end. I like a story that's real. She died, he died, they lived, Hitler died.
Sure. Look, I love this movie.
Into that.
But I have to be honest. I think I like the Brad Pitt's parts in the movie more, because you're right. It is bisected. It's like Brad Pitt and his crew, and then the rest.
That's a Tarantino movie for you.
Yeah, of course.
That's a Tarantino movie. He's got to have four separate stories that join in the end.
It's good. He's the best. All right, let's wrap it up. I have a very important meeting.
I'm sure you do. With the toilet. I gotta drop the kids off at the pool.
No, not that. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go with jokes. Do you know where most horses live? Most horses?
No.
They live in the neighborhood.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
A gardener friend of mine recently told me that I should put horse manure on my strawberries.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I tried it, and I'm going back to cream. It was disgusting.
Politicians and talking heads lying left and right. You can help us bring facts into the light. Don't let your daughter